Welcome to a thrilling and terrifying tale of a man-eating crocodile and a group of kayakers who found themselves in the predator's path. In this video, we will recount the harrowing experience of a kayaking excursion gone terribly wrong when a massive crocodile attacked one of the kayakers, dragging him under the water and eating him alive. Through the eyes of the survivors, we will explore the danger and unpredictability of nature and the incredible power of these deadly creatures. Before we move any further, subscribe to our channel now and hit the bell icon for regular updates. Get ready to hold your breath and feel your heart race as we delve into the heart of darkness in this man-eating crocodile eats man alive while kayaking. In 1997, the enormous Zambezi River, which borders Zambia and Zimbabwe, was becoming an increasingly popular destination for thrill-seeking travelers. Outfitters organized bungee jumps and skydive over the magnificent Victoria Falls, but whitewater rafting was the most popular activity. 21-year-old Hendri, who had never kayaked or rafted a river, obtained a position at Peter Meredith's whitewater rafting business. Peter regarded Hendri as having more brawn than intellect, and he once kayaked around a lethal Class 6 rapid while Hendri was in his kayak. Hendri ran at it in his kayak without telling anyone. He barely made it through. Peter told him that he would be fired if he repeated such an act. In 2004, Peter and Hendri became close friends and began on an epic journey with a small group to follow the Nile River from its source to its mouth. They paddled the 4,130 miles from Lake Victoria to the Mediterranean Sea. Henry's solo paddle took him 5 months to complete. He survived being ambushed and hunted by cannibalistic Gambit tribesmen. He dodged hippos and crocodiles. He slept on the banks of the river, protected only by his bivouac and the flames of his fire. Upon meeting a woman, Henry learned that there may be more to life than adrenaline-fueled expeditions, but Henry's feelings didn't last long. In 2010, he received an email from 2 professional American kayakers who wanted to navigate the Upper Congo River. They knew Henry was the perfect guide for the job, but he remained steadfast in his decision to no longer participate in kayaking or exploration. As he sketched out their journey, he included specific information that only an explorer of his quality would know. Henry felt a return of his customary relentlessness as the cry of the wild buzzed in his ears after months of planning their journey. Hendri eventually succumbed and gave in to the allure of an epic journey. The 3 embarked on their 2-month journey down the Congo's tributaries via the Rusizi River at the end of October 2010 to return home by Christmas. Henry's girlfriend was excited to see him after what he swore would be his final expedition. It turns out, he was correct. When the story, 3 kayakers stopped along the river to rest or set up camp, they would meet with residents who lived on the riverbanks. They had a deal with the International Rescue Committee, which aided refugees and rural communities in exchange for some logistical assistance. When Henry promised feedback from locals, they were told that in addition to obtaining clean water and education, they also needed help tackling a major crocodile problem in the past 20 years. 125 people had been taken by this prolific predator. Henry and the others made a mental note of this comment. What they didn't know was that the years of battles in the region between neighboring communities had resulted in more than 5.4 million people being killed. In the African bush, Henry had to teach him how to kayak, and he taught them to tap their kayaks regularly to make noise. On the day of the attack, the 3 kayakers had spotted a few 3-foot crocodiles on the muddy banks. They were harmless, and the trio glided by, admiring the natural scene from their plastic boats if a larger croc was spotted in the water protocol was for the three kayakers to come together and paddle as fast as they could to outrun the potential threat. Until this point, the journey had consisted of terrifying whitewater sections and calm, gentle stretches that traveled through the silent African forest. The river, which was roughly 100 feet wide and ran slowly, could be seen just around the bend. The three men were paddling near one another, and they had to concentrate hard to avoid colliding with one another's paddles. Chris was following a few yards behind Ben, who was in the lead, and Hendri was in the middle of the pack. Ben's eyes quickly went to the left and then to the right. Something was moving beneath the surface of the water, and it was approaching them from the shadowy depths. They just had no way of knowing about the cunning predator until it was far too late. There was not even a single ripple or bubble. Ben caught sight of the massive crocodile as he glanced over his shoulder to check on the status of the others and make sure they were following the rules. Discreetly emerged from the water on Henry's left, just next to the water. Hendri screamed, "Oh my God!" after taking a deep breath. It was not a scream of dread, horror, or desperation. Rather, it was an outburst that was delivered as a matter of fact. Hendri had been taken aback when he saw the biggest crocodile abruptly pull its head out of the water, and they were the only words he could muster in the split second it took for him to process what he had just witnessed. Hendri was taken below as quickly as lightning as the crocodile's fangs grabbed hold of his left shoulder and pulled him under. Hendri's chest and neck were crushed as a result of the crocodile's biting force, which was over 4,000 psi. Hendri was safely fastened within the cockpit of his kayak at all times. Ben and Chris watched in utter horror as the capsized kayak trembled and rolled for a few agonizing seconds above the water before being forced into the river and vanishing from their line of sight. After a few moments, the red plastic boat floated back to the surface of the water and started moving forward on its own. The cockpit was unoccupied. Hendri could not be found. Hendri was most likely pulled to the bottom of the river, where the crocodile began its meal by squeezing the air out of Hendri's lungs and throwing him off balance with sudden twists and rolls to drown its prey. Hendri presumably passed unconsciously as a result of the intense pressure on his body before being submerged. Based on the size of its head, the crocodile was around 15 feet long and weighed more than 2,000 pounds. Ben and Chris made a desperate dash for it, paddling furiously across the green Lukuga River as they hurriedly made their way to the riverside village of Kabaya. Maji fired their kayaks at the riverbank they left out and ran into the village shouting for help. The locals fled in a panic. The two white men wearing life jackets and helmets had taken them completely by surprise. But when everyone calmed down, Ben and Chris managed to ask for a motorboat to go and look for Hendri. The villagers shuffled uneasily and shook their heads. They told them that in the last 5 years, they no longer set foot on the river because in that time, Ben and Chris dashed onto a nearby bridge, desperately searching upstream for their missing friend. The entire village, approximately 200 people, followed them. Then, from around a corner, they saw a black paddle, and then Hendri's red kayak bob up and down on the river, floating closer and closer, and then passing directly beneath Chris and Ben's feet. It was immaculate. No sign of a struggle. No scratches. No cracks. No blood. Hendri was never seen again. Hendri's girlfriend logged onto Facebook. The sympathy messages for Hendri that suddenly appeared on her computer screen caused her heart to skip a beat. This cannot be taking place at this time. This must be some sort of mistake, because they were supposed to meet soon. On New Year's Eve, Hendri's girlfriend nevertheless traveled to the Ugandan pub where they planned to meet despite the poor lighting and constant bass. She searched the hazy dance floor for Hendri, hoping, without hope, that she would be able to make out his brilliant grin and confident demeanor among the crowd of people. As the clock struck 12, the celebrants erupted in cheers. Hendri could not be found. that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.